All right, ladies and gentlemen,
What's up? Are we live?
we are.
Oh, yeah, it says live. I'll get that one of these days.
One of these days. Welcome. It's time. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Not us, thank goodness. But happy Father's Day. We are going to start a little rock band bracket today because, most dads like rock. We like rock. And
I want to rock.
we're going to get started.
Rob, what are you drinking? You drinking Budweiser?
Of course.
You're such an American.
Even though they're Belgian now, whatever.
I'm drinking two, bud.
Yeah?
Yep.
Straight vodka.
Mucinex.
Mucinex. Like a champ.
To the face. You gotta love the allergies this fucking time of year.
That's true. That's why the wife is down for the count right now with the allergies. And I'm actually in the process of moving, fun fact. So I don't have my usual setup. I've got my little laptop here, and I'm trying to hide the rest of my house from view because there's just an absurd amount of things out. I didn't realize how much stuff I owned until you have to pull it out of the closet. So anyway, completely off topic. Let's talk about some rock bands, shall we, Johnny?
I want to rock.
Rock. Oh, and the best part about this bracket always will be how much can we get away with before YouTube copyright blocks us.
We will be getting copyrodden. All right, listen, if you've never joined us before, it's your first time joining us. We do brackets. If you don't know what brackets are, get off the podcast because we don't want you here anyway. You know what brackets are. We rank them, we list them, we do the matchups. This is what we do. Comment, subscribe, hang out with us. We'll put your comments up, and we'll even take your votes if they're good. But if they're not, we won't.
That's how we roll. So this is our rock band bracket that Johnny compiled together.
Yeah, I did a good job on that.
Yeah, but now there's a source. That's the thing. It's not our top 64 rock bands because this would be a very boring broadcast if we just put our top 64 rock bands together. So Johnny, what is this?
Chalk?
Yeah, I mean, if you like chalk, as the selection committee, it's always a fun time, but not for anybody else. Right. We're here for the underdogs. So Johnny B, where did you get the list for these rock bands?
What did I tell you the website's name was?
I'm pretty sure it was something awesome like rockbandhistory.com or something like that.
It was like rockbandhistory.com or something. It was like the greatest 200 rock bands of all time.
There you go.
But I did sprinkle, since we are a millennial podcast, I took out a couple that I didn't think millennials would know as well. And I sprinkled in some millennial bands because we are a millennial podcast.
We are indeed. So it looks like we're already down to one viewer, so that's awesome. So apparently the one boomer left. Oh, well, what are you going to do?
Is it me? Am I the viewer?
I don't know. If you're watching us live, we appreciate you. Feel free to comment and give us as much shit as you want because that's really why we're here. We give each other shit all the time, but it's not as fun when you don't have meeting new people and getting to know people through this process. So, Johnny, do you know the first matchup that we have?
No, I don't. I'm trying to bring up the bracket right now, but I'm also on the YouTube because I'm trying to get us viewers because I like to cheat.
There you go. I love it. We're now up to 3. So Johnny times 3. It's a scary thought.
Cheater.
let's talk about the first. Let's talk about.
You know this long ass fucking time ago in a place called Sarasota. What does that mean?
Huh? That's from Tenacious D. Sorry, Jack Black. We're going to start talking about this legendary rock band bracket today. And the first matchup is the Beatles, of course, the number 1 seed, of course, against the Steve Miller Band.
See, now I don't cheat for a couple of matchups, and this is probably, I would say, the number 1 reason. Because I know that they're not going to move on, but at time after time after time, I even told you I'm going to get a tattoo of the horse head. Like, I love the Steve Miller. I love Steve Miller Band.
I know.
I mean, if you were to do the greatest, how many times have I told you? The greatest hits album, what is it, 74 to 79, is Steve Miller Band.
There's only one band that could rival that, and we'll get to them. But there's another band whose greatest hits album, I think, broke all the records in terms of record sales and stuff like that. That other band that we will get to is the only other one that could rival Steve Miller Band for greatest hits album.
You can get an album where you can get a song like Big Jet Airliner and then The Joker and then go on, take the money, and run all within 3 songs.
Right.
I mean, just hit after hit after hit.
They're very. I mean, Steve Miller Band is great.
This is a classic, just bad ranking by the website, not us. Because Rob, where would you have them ranked if you were to rank them by yourself? What seed?
I don't know. I think
I'd say
64 is not horrible
I would say 6 to 10 as a seed
for Steve
me.
Miller. Oh, as a seed. Okay. So like we're talking like 24 to 40,
Like,
somewhere in that range.
Bands, they're probably in your favorite bands at least top 40.
Yeah. So that's the thing though, is that when you look at the top 200 bands of all time, I mean, to make the top 64 is pretty impressive for all the rock bands that we're talking about. We're going all the way back to, the 50s on some of these, for some of these bands, some of these artists. I think it's pretty impressive that you make the top 64 when you have
I know, but I just
7 decades.
We're talking all about the Steve Miller Band. The reason why we're doing that is because we're not even going to discuss this because the Beatles are moving on. But
yes,
it just sucks because we are giving love to the team that is losing because they, in a lot of matchups, they would probably move on in this bracket for us personally.
Yeah, they would. They're a tough out, but when you come up against
this is like a scare game, Rob. This is like a scare game. Like the 16 plays the 1 until like 4 minutes left, and then they lose by 20.
Well, and so this is the thing, right? Is that I would say this is a game where the 1 seed goes into half down to the 16 seed, not by a lot, by like
hold it.
And like 3 or 5 points. Like they're not down by a lot, but like again, a great shot. The Joker comes out from nowhere and gets them up.
It's the first 11:55 game of the tournament weekend.
Right. Exactly. And people get a little buzz building because you're like, wow, this team's actually hanging with
TV game. It's a game that's on True TV.
Yes. But just think about it. I mean, if you just went hit for hit, the Beatles have songs as good as Steve Miller, probably not significantly better than Steve Miller's best greatest hits, album. But then you keep going. Then you have to play the rest of the game. And all the rest of the albums that the Beatles are putting out, again, in a very short time span, 6 years, basically, about the same time span we're talking about for Steve Miller, the quantity is greater. The quality overall is just stronger from top to bottom. And then that's not even counting the cultural impact that the Beatles had by being themselves. So that's the thing, is that I would say Steve Miller is a band or a team that goes into halftime up, but yeah, they can't hold it because their greatest hits are great. But when those star players get into foul trouble and have to sit on the bench, the Beatles take over.
Big facts, Rob. Big facts.
All right. So let's talk about the next one. And this is right up my alley, honestly. We have the matchup of Emerson, Lake and Palmer versus Rage Against the Machine.
Can I be completely honest with you?
You've never listened to anything by Emerson, Lake and Palmer ever.
No, but I have heard. Just not familiar. And I mean, do I have to get into Rage? I mean, come on.
I mean, I don't have all of my my posters up anymore because I'm in the process of moving, but I have a cloth, poster or flag, whatever you want to call it, for Rage. Their eponymous, basically self-titled album, and the Flaming Monk. It's around here somewhere. But I love Rage Against the Machine. They're one of my top 5 favorite bands. But Emerson, Lake and Palmer is also a band that I listened to extensively growing up, mostly because you've got these guys, the 3 guys, and they make an absurd amount of noise. But part of it is because Emerson is he's an organ player or a keys player unlike any other. And he uses his setup, he's basically a lead-in for all the prog rock, or even all of the guys with their boards today where they try and set up different sounds and then repeat the beats and all of that stuff. He did all of that back in the 70s. And watching concerts, let's say YouTube clips of Emerson, Lake and Palmer in concert is crazy to think that this guy was doing it all with basically no tech behind him. He's just generating noise. So for people who like their EDM, but also like rock music, if you don't know who Emerson, Lake and Palmer is, you absolutely have to check them out because they are I mean, they were way ahead of their time, and they just make good music overall. He was classically trained as a pianist, so he's got a lot of actual musical skill as well as the technical know-how to basically create that almost EDM vibe. So, who did the song with Aloe Black? Avicii. Avicii owes much to Emerson for being able to combine the rock and techno elements.
So with all that said, just like last one, Rage Against the Machine is moving on.
Yeah, no. Cultural impact. I mean, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, like culturally, they weren't going to break the bank here. But in terms of musical skill, they were probably better. I would say definitely better than Rage Against the Machine, which is saying a lot because Rage has great musicians.
And you hear Rage Against the Machine, Rob. I know they have a plethora of music songs. I don't even know what that. It's the Mucinex, and but when you hear that, there's one song that I always think of. I'm sorry, I know I'm basic, but it's playing in my head right now, and I want to run through a fucking wall every time.
Is it Bulls on Parade?
We're not allowed to sing, and I'm not going to say it, but it's in my head.
Okay. Oh yes, of course. Of course. The song. I mean, again, culturally, the song that broke the charts in England that one year because people said "fuck Simon Cowell" was that song. So that alone is why.
I just want to rip people's throats out when I hear that song in a positive way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and this is going to really crush me next round. This will be a little teaser, but Rage Against the Machine is one of my top 5 favorite bands. The Beatles are one of my top 5 favorite bands, and they're going to be matched up a 1 versus a 9 in the second round. So I'm hoping we don't get there tonight because I don't need that extra stress in my life. So anyway, our next matchup is, oh man. So we have Van Halen versus Chicago.
I'm going to say Chicago is a top 5 underrated band of all time.
Yes.
With that being said.
Yes. Van Halen is a top 10 not underrated band, just a good band of all time. But I will say that we actually had a Chicago song for trivia because we like to play trivia. We had music trivia, and they played the beginning of 25 or 6 to 4. Again, for all the millennials out there, look it up. It's a great song, but it goes hard. And Gabby's literally listened to it. And I'm like, yeah, this is Chicago. I already know this. And she goes, this is Chicago? This? I didn't realize they went this hard. I thought they played like, light jazz, like, Muzak, like elevator music. And I'm like, Chicago goes fucking hard when they have a mind to. They're basically like a hardcore ska band when they want to be, with all of the brass instruments and just really trying to create a big noise. But yeah, I mean, are they Van Halen? Are they Eruption? No, they are not. So,
and we're not gonna go into deep into depth in the matchups that we're gonna send through. We will go into deeper depth into the next rounds because we don't want to. We keep them in our pocket. We keep the ammo in there.
That's right. As always, we've got this is a marathon, not a sprint. But you got to lay your cards on the table if you want to make sure a band gets through. But in this case, Van Halen's got plenty in the tank. So we're going to move on to our next matchup. And it's Chuck Berry versus Jefferson Airplane. These are some incredibly eclectic matchups. Who would ever think to match up Chuck Berry, White Rabbit, and Surrealistic Pillow?
Come on. It's just very different rock music bands.
Yes. And I mean, Chuck is Chuck, right? He is the father, really, of the real father of rock and roll.
Yeah, I would say
on this Father's Day, he truly is the father of rock and roll of everybody else on this list. I mean, Elvis is there. Don't worry, we'll get to him. He might be the king, but the father, the patriarch of the rock family in the U.S.
Why would you think that I would vote on Chuck Berry here, even though I love the hippie band Jefferson Airplane?
Why would I think that you would vote for them?
Yes. Think of who I am as a person. Oh wait, because he has 2 songs with my name in them. Thank
Yes.
you very much. Move Chuck Berry on.
There you go.
We'll keep it simple. We're not going to go into the musicality of this. Although White Rabbit might be top
Amazing.
15 song for me.
Yes. Yeah. And now here's the thing. Again,
Who
Jefferson
wants a song
Airplane.
about Alice in Wonderland high on mushrooms? Like that's just
Well, it's so good. It's peak. It is peak Woodstock, which
Yes.
I was re-listening to the whole Woodstock, album, double album, earlier today. Now I didn't get through it all because it's a long fucking concert. It was 3 days of peace, love, and music. But
which
there's
is
so
sex,
many good.
drugs and rock and roll.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the flip side. It's all of the same, but peace, love, and music is sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's the same thing.
That's the PC way of saying it.
Oh, yeah. So Jefferson Airplane is phenomenal because they're not going to be moving on. I agree. Chuck Berry is a fucking, just baller. We got to shout out a couple things for them in that, yes, that one song is unbelievable. But as Jefferson Airplane, they had some just excellent music. Again, very perfect for the time frame that they're in. Also, their lead singer, a University of Miami graduate, Grace Slick.
I did not know.
She was an architecture school graduate, or at least student. I don't actually know if she graduated, to be perfectly fair. Back then, she probably dropped out. But she was a Miami Cane as well, and has some great vocals as well. Maybe not as strong as some of the other people who may or may not be on this list, but what they brought to the scene is just great because they pushed the prog rock aspect without having, again, all of the extra tech stuff. It was just them in a rock band setup going, we're going to make weird shit happen.
With chimes.
Yeah.
Lots of, you could just, when you say Jefferson Airplane, you smell the patchouli oil. You just smell it.
Yes, you do. That's a great quote. I'm gonna have to put that in here.
I mean, you just smell it. But again, we're giving a lot of credit. See, the reason why we're giving a lot of credit to people who are losing is because we are just overall fans of music. We are big music guys. I have like 400 albums now. Rob has an array of music in his back pocket that is like bar none. But yeah.
Yep. But that is absolutely the case. So, again, no disrespect to really any of these bands, except maybe one, and we'll get to them. But other than maybe one or two bands, every one of these rock bands are phenomenal in their own right. And we want to give them as much love as possible before we boot them out of the bracket, because, again, there can only be one. So let's talk about the next matchup. We've got Prince against the Beach Boys.
This is the first matchup of I don't care as that much. I'm always a man of the people. I'm honest, integrity. That's what I do. I'm honest and I'm integrity. I'm integrated. Integrated?
No, that's not it.
No, I don't know what it is, but I don't really care.
It's got to be Prince. It's got to be Prince. I mean, well, and the Beach Boys had one really great album. Pet Sounds, unbelievable, great shit. It also featured a lot of songs that they basically had to pay Chuck Berry for because they took all of his awesome guitar riffs and turned them into more of surfer music. They basically made it more accessible for white people, let's be honest. But it was Chuck Berry's music that were some of their biggest hits. Surfin' USA is identical to Sweet Little 16. It's identical. Like, the music is exactly the same, just more harmonies and higher pitch.
The Beach Boys are, Rob? The Beach Boys are a parody of what white people were in the 60s.
They were.
Without trying to be a parody of what the white people were in the 60s.
That is very true. Have
you ever seen the movie Pleasantville?
Of course. It's a great movie.
They would be like the band of Pleasantville.
Yeah, pretty much. That's very true. That's very true. Well, and again,
there's no sex, there's no drugs, and there's hardly any rock and roll.
That is, I think that's a little harsh, but probably fair. I think the biggest thing is that, so if they they obviously had a lot of great albums and whatnot to come out of it, but again, Pet Sounds, which was very late in the game for them, like they had a lot of albums before that. it was where Brian Wilson really tried to push the boundaries of what he could do creatively, and it was great. It was a great start. And then Brian basically had a mental breakdown, and he couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't make more albums along those lines, and just they had to kind of pull back and stay kind of, bubblegum in order to make sure that, because they could still make the same music, but he couldn't push his creativity because he actually had a nervous breakdown associated, maybe not with Pet Sounds, but around that time. So it really limited their potential. Like, we could be talking about the Beach Boys in a much different light had Brian Wilson been able to make, 5 albums and keep pushing the bounds of his creativity that started in Pet Sounds, or kind of reached its climax in Pet Sounds, because he couldn't go further than that. But it had so much, like I said, so much potential, because it was really more prog rock. It was like Good Vibrations. You listen to that song, it's way more psychedelic. It's way more Yardbirds, than any of the other stuff that they had put out before. And it's a great, great song, and it's kind of encapsulates the whole album. I mean, he never got to go farther than that, really. Like, he didn't really have an opportunity to do that. Like, the Beatles there got to smoke pot with Bob Dylan, and then, get to go take trips to India and shit like that as a band and keep exploring their musicality through that. Beach Boys never did that shit. And it shows.
Facts.
Okay. So with all that said, Prince is a fucking star, and we'll talk more about him later. He is going to be matched up, though, against the winner of the next matchup. And it could be very interesting, or it could be very, very interesting. The matchup is David Bowie versus System of a Down. I
mean, do we have to get into it? Listen, Bowie's cool. It's cool. Glam rock is cool. No, not my style, not my thing. I'm not big into androgyny. To each their own. But I mean,
you might be big into androgyny. We just don't know yet.
Give me some Armenian Surge, just going hard on the microphone, and just bringing that. I call it like slasher metal, like that Anthrax metal. Like that's what I love.
Yeah, I would say. Okay. So this means, I mean, again, System of a Down, top 10 band for me, absolutely. 100%. In fact, if there's any band on here that truly gets me fired up to kind of attack the day, it's not Rage Against the Machine. It's System of a Down.
Okay, Rob, we have someone trying to comment, but they can't comment. How do they comment?
That's a great question. They should be able to. Well, this is a good time for that banner. Let's see.
All it has is thumbs up, thumbs down, share, save, and report. That's it. Technical difficulties. This is our life.
Yep, as always.
Do you see that?
I see it. We have never. Oh, no. There's a chat. So it's not a comment. They have to look for the chat box.
Where's the chat box?
Well, on my laptop, it's on the right-hand side, and you basically have to be logged into chat and say something in the chat. So we don't get comments per se. It's a chat room, basically, that we get to see right here as we roll along. So hopefully, whoever they are can. All
right, and then back to System of a Down, because like they're one of the greatest American rock bands of all time.
Armenian rock bands of all time.
Right.
But yes, American for sure. And I love that you say that, because they are so political, and they push every boundary in America that they can think of. So, they are overtly political. It's like you were saying Anthrax, that thrasher metal, absolutely. But it's like if they decided to have a baby with the Dead Kennedys. Like that is the political. It's crazy. So let's just have a quick shout out for David Bowie, because David's not going to make it past this, because in this millennial podcast or broadcast, we shake well before opening. We're not going to get Ziggy Stardust too far past this round. I like David Bowie in that he he was a great
Performer.
performer. He took, like you said, the glam rock, the artistry to a whole new level. His music itself was quality. I honestly, though, just so the record is clear, if it was Bowie versus Prince, I'd pick Prince over David Bowie because I think Prince musicality was even better. So it's probably fitting that Bowie and Prince are not going against each other because I think they have a lot of similar qualities. Obviously, the time frame was different. They were off by at least a decade in terms of kind of coming to prominence. But they had very similar approaches to the making music, but also being a performer. So that's amazing. That's awesome. But yeah, no, sorry. When it comes to System of a Down, I think their impact, well, it wasn't stronger, but has a much stronger message than what Bowie could bring at that time because he also was 20 years earlier than System of a Down. So I'm passing System through. I think you are as well. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Black Sabbath versus the Doobie Brothers. Again, wildly different. Why would anybody match these two bands?
Wildly awesome.
I'll have like
I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have to put this on you. Man, like it's Ozzy. But like, have you seen the Doobie Brothers like playlist, Rob?
I have. I never recognize a Doobie Brothers song.
Except they're all hits.
I know. Well, they give me very similar Steve Miller vibes. So, in fact, I'm just looking up their Wikipedia right now to see if I'm missing any, major songs. But they're known, literally, they're American. They're known for their flexibility in performing across numerous genres. That's literally like it's hard to pin down a Doobie Brothers song. I'm going to keep talking over you so we don't get freaking copyright banned by freaking YouTube. Stop it. I'm not letting you ruin this show because of the Doobie Brothers. Fuck you. So, but they have a lot of great, like I said, I get a very strong Steve Miller Band vibe from them in terms of what the impact that they have on the, say American culture. Not the same kind of music necessarily, because again, they're very flexible, which to be fair, Steve Miller was, but in different ways. But yeah, man, there's no way that you're going to pass over the band that created Paranoid, that whole album in 1970. NIB, come on, man.
I know, but this is not fair because this is a great like
apples and oranges, man. Even though fruit can be compared.
We're putting through Sabbath, but I'm just saying.
No, they're great. They're a great band. Like I said, for the vast majority of these bands, even if we're on them, we acknowledge that they're great bands. Again, one or two exceptions, but we're not going to get there for a hot minute. So let's talk about the last matchup in this corner of the bracket. We're almost a quarter of the way done, Johnny. And we have The Who versus Fleetwood Mac.
I hate this fucking game. Who makes a podcast like this?
I don't know. Whose idea was this? God damn it.
Why are these matchups like that? Like, I honestly didn't. This is bullshit. This is literally how you know this is bullshit. Because this is both of these are top, probably elite eight teams.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's because of rumors. Without rumors, Fleetwood Mac is not in the Elite Eight discussion. That album by itself was
that album.
So Rumors is just such a fucking amazing album.
I think they have the better album of these two bands. If you put albums like rank albums.
I don't know, because The Who also have Tommy, the first ever rock opera.
Rumors, and then like three. Then like every.
Well, they're very different, but still. I'm
gonna say like Rumors, all the Who albums, then Fleetwood Mac. You know what I mean? Like they have the one. But then
I guess so. Again, I would say that Tommy is
a rock band. Is that?
Well, it is about the body of work for sure.
And Tommy's right there, like
That's what I mean. Well, okay. I'm just going to wear this around my shoulders for the rest of the podcast. So, you know who I'm rooting for.
We have to give Fleetwood Mac its due, though.
Rumors is an amazing album, and Fleetwood Mac was a great band. They went through a lot of changes, which
good job, Rob. Way to use one of their songs in a pun.
But it's true, they did. So it was just, I don't know, it was
that's because everybody was fucking everybody and secretly in love with everybody, but they wouldn't tell they were secretly in love with everybody. They thought they were just fucking each other and being cool, but they weren't really being cool because they were all jealous.
Yeah, which is why Rumors was such a great fucking album. It created that creative like stimulus.
It was reality TV played out on an album.
Right. And all the Who really had for reality TV was trashing hotel rooms. The one-man wrecking crew, Keith Moon, rest in peace, man. I mean, in comparison, they were mild, compared to Fleetwood Mac. But that's the problem, is Fleetwood Mac kind of imploded. They kind of.
That's what happens with tons of cocaine and people loving each other and not saying it.
That's very true. And also British and Americans together. God, who thought that was a good idea?
Never good.
Well, so I agree. Fleetwood Mac is a great band. But the Who is better.
But again, Fleetwood Mac would move on to like almost every other matchup that we've seen so far. But we're moving on to Who.
We might be able to do best rock albums at some point, and then that'll really fuck in.
Rumors is definitely at Final Four. Like, there's no way Rumors isn't going Final Four.
Like I said, that would be a hell of a time because we're not even thinking of some of these albums. So let's move on to the next corner of the bracket. Number 1 seed versus number 16. We have two, well, shall we say artists. We have one Elvis Presley. We'll just say Elvis. I don't even think the other Elvis Costello made it on this list. And no. Dave Matthews Band.
Okay, I did take out, this is one of those I took out the 16.
Yeah.
Put in a Dave Matthews because I think it deserves some love. Not a Dave Matthews guy. I don't wear puka shells. Or I don't go, her. Like, I don't, that's not my thing.
Right.
I do know my history and I do know culture, and Dave Matthews needs to be on the list.
Yeah, well, they
because we're millennial.
It is very millennial. Absolutely. Kind of sums up an entire subgenre of rock and roll that existed in the 90s. And they were kind of the banner for it.
What is the name of that music called?
I don't know. It's like the Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah, but Hootie and the Blowfish were 10 times better than Dave Miller Band.
You mean Dave Matthews?
You know where my head's at.
Yep.
I'm still mad.
But Dave Matthews carried the torch for that subgenre, is what I'm saying. It's a very similar style of music. Like they had the same genre
like
style.
College jam band music, I guess.
Yeah. So like not as far as Fish, but kind of between Hootie and the Blowfish and Fish is Dave Matthews kind of being the mainstream guys for it. Yeah, I mean, is it terrible music? No. Oh, we have our first comment. I don't even know what was in response to, but thank you. Thank you, Anna Maria.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means she's laughing at us because why wouldn't she? I would.
Yeah, but I don't know what she's laughing at because I want to keep saying, I got to move on because I'm still pissed off about Steve Miller. And I keep wanting to say.
Maybe that's why she's laughing because you kept saying Dave Miller. I don't know. White people names. Anyway.
Dave Matthews guy. But again, I do recognize where they need to be.
Well, like I said, we kind of get to summarize a bunch of genres of music in one. So, but at least our one viewer is on board with that. And again, versus the king of rock and roll, yeah, no, you're not going to beat Elvis anyway. So,
how much pussy do you think Elvis Presley really got?
As much as he wanted, which who knows how much that.
Yeah, but we're thinking about that. Like we say that was like our grandma's friends.
But they were probably hot back in the day, Johnny.
I would probably take him down.
All right. With that comment, we're moving on to one that this is how I know you did not. Do you know how I know that you did not set up this bracket? We have as an 8 and 9 seed, Leonard Skinner versus the Eagles.
This one, it keeps getting progressively worse.
How do I know?
What do we do here, dude? I think all right, we're gonna go quickly after this. We're taking a 10-minute block right here. This is very important.
This is very important. So, Anna Marie, strap in, I guess, because it's going to be a while. So, Johnny, do you want to do the honors of Leonard Skinner? Because I know that's right up your alley, and I can take the Eagles.
Give me 3 steps. Fucking that song right there. Ooh, that smell. Literally a song just about smoking marijuana at a concert. That's all they do is say, they don't even sing the song anymore. They just say, ooh, that smell, and everybody just gets high for 15 minutes.
Yep.
Oh, wait, there's this, we're a college football podcast, right, Rob?
Yes. So you keep telling me.
College football the last 10 years. What song do they play every time they score?
Go ahead.
Sweet home Alabama. I mean, come on, man. Like,
yeah, but then you've matched them up against the band. And when I say the band that has sold the most fucking albums of all time. The singular album that has sold the most of all time now.
And they have probably a top 3 song of all time.
Well, but here's the thing. The top selling album of all time belongs to the Eagles' greatest hits album, very specifically. So, of course, that song is on the greatest hits album.
Besides Hotel California, what is your favorite Eagles song?
My favorite one? Probably Take It Easy. Probably. But I'm basic like that when it comes to Eagles.
You want to know what sucks about this? The Eagles weren't considered a Southern rock band.
Because they aren't. They're
a Southern rock band from California.
But they're a country rock band from California.
That's what I mean. They're the same band, just one has a twang and the other one doesn't.
Well, and they also had to swap out their guitarist. So when they took on Joe Walsh, all of a sudden their music became even more country than it was before. And in a good way. Like, it really helped their shit. But
we need somebody with musicality. I don't think we can figure this out by ourselves. I think me and you are both going to be like this and not vote. I think we need to do a call. We need to do a phone a friend.
Go ahead. Who do you want to call?
Who do we call?
I've got a couple people who might be able to do it, but let me just kind of check out some of these songs from the greatest hits album. I'm just going to throw it out there. So, Take It Easy is number 1, of course. We've got Lion Eyes, Desperado, Nights, Tequila Sunrise, Limits, Peaceful Easy Feeling, Best of My Love.
Hold on. Hi, what's up, Fred?
What's up,
What are you doing? Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, sir.
We have we're recording our podcast right now. Me and Rob, you're live. Just don't curse. Oh, no, you can curse. Doesn't matter. Between the Eagles and Leonard Skinner, who is the better band?
Skinner.
Okay, you said that like definitively.
I did. Yeah.
Like without any hesitation.
Why? Yeah, I think so. Why? What do you think?
We are.
That's what we needed. Because we were stuck.
We have no idea. We're stuck.
We were stuck in neutral, and so.
All right, we're gonna go with Skinner then. Thank you, Uncle Teddy.
Bye, Teddy.
I'll call you tomorrow. Rob says bye. I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, talk to you later.
Love you. Bye. We gotta go. I mean, the man spoke.
And here's the thing: is that Teddy is not someone I would say like, oh, he's a huge Southern rock guy, so that makes a lot of sense. Dude.
Okay. As per reference, Teddy's favorite 2 bands, Pearl Jam and Tesla.
You shouldn't have told me that.
So there's no that we're gonna have to go with Skinner there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. And here,
you want to know
because they're winning, we'll move them on. That is totally legitimate.
Rob, in a different world though, the Eagles could be a Final Four team.
They could be. Well, okay. Let's make it very clear. Since we are a millennial podcast and we are not a boomers podcast, you know who bought all those albums to make the Eagles' greatest hits album, the biggest selling album of all time. It wasn't millennials. It was not millennials.
I bet you more millennials know Skinner too.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, if you play Sweet Home Alabama, I think everyone would recognize that, but Hotel California as well, I don't know. I think if you played Freebird, that people would be like, oh, is this Skinner? Like that's kind of the level that most millennials have. So I think it would be kind of a toss up. But yes, if we were going based off of boomer choices, absolutely the Eagles would be a Final Four band. But they're getting bumped by Leonard Skinner. And honestly, thank you, Teddy, for that, because we only spent 5 minutes on it instead of 10.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could have been a real deep cut there. We would have went into which groupies were hotter. Like that would have been the category.
Too deep. So,
wait, who do you think would have had the hotter groupies? Rob, do you like the Southern girls or do you like the West Coast girls?
Do I like Southern California girls or do I like Southern girls?
That's what I mean. There.
That's a pretty difficult choice. That's a Arizona versus like
Florida.
Well, I guess at Florida, yeah, kind of. So I would have to. I mean, I chose to come to Miami, so you know we're gonna end up with that.
Skinner wins all the way around then.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Anna Marie's got a choice.
And, come on, baby. There's no way that Southern Cali girls are better than Southern girls.
Well, that again is because you chose the South.
Rob, by the way, this girl that's commenting right now, I gotta tell you about her later.
Oh, okay. Watch or not watch anymore. Thank you for watching, Anna Marie. All right.
About her later off screen.
All right. So let's talk about the next match.
By the way, go ahead.
I'm sure. Aerosmith versus Billy Joel.
Oh, two people I don't really give two fucks. I'm going to say two very overrated people. Eagles would smash both of them.
Okay, that is very true. Hear me out. Billy Joel made like 3 rock songs in his entire life. One of them is "It's Still Rock and Roll to Me," which is a great song.
Yeah, but a New York State of Mind is pretty awesome.
But that's not a rock song.
Yeah, but it's a great song.
Yeah. Just here's the thing. If we're going based off of just musicianship, then Billy Joel wins because Billy Joel is an amazing musician, but he's not an amazing rock musician.
Rob, what's the definition of a rock show or a rock band? People that go out to see a rock show, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the best rock venues in the world. Madison Square Garden. Who has sold out Madison Square Garden for over 30 years and plays about 30 shows a year there?
All right, I'm going to show you a comment, and this might change your mind.
She's from Long Island, Rob. I can't help that.
Yeah, but you're not.
That's true. And you know how I feel about Long
Island. And I mean, I'm from across the Sound, so like I get that vibe, but also no. So Aerosmith is fine. They're fine. I mean, are they as good as Tesla? Not according to Teddy, and I think that's a fair assessment. But Tesla's not on this list. We've got Aerosmith versus Billy Joel. My struggle here is truly that Billy Joel is not a rock musician. He can make some rock songs. And again, out of how many freaking albums he's released, he's probably done 3 rock songs ever. So, I mean, for the longest time, Uptown Girl, these are not rock songs.
Uptown Girl.
But they're not rock songs. That's my just literal point. Like, they're just not.
Fine, we'll go with Aerosmith. Fine.
And you know what you're getting with Aerosmith. Like they're definitely a rock band. Are they phenomenal?
Oh, Janie's crying. I
mean, wow.
Pretty shitty rock band, just saying.
Yep.
She'll allow it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's because I don't allow her to do anything. Never mind. We're just not going to get into that.
Can you please not on the air?
Heard.
Anyway, they're losing to whoever wins this next one. So we've got Eric Clapton versus Rush.
Oh.
But this is a great matchup, and the winner's definitely going to crush Aerosmith.
Why can't we just mix and match?
Flip flop them, so we get that in the because that's not how the committee picked, man. Politics or whatever at rockbandhistory.com.
You wanna go out, you gotta figure out.
Well, and so Clapton, again, I will put out there that Clapton, amazing guitarist, unbelievable guitarist.
Layla, Creed,
Yeah,
Derek
Well,
and the
again,
Dominoes,
Now
Derek,
Layla is Derek and the
Derek
Dominoes, so
and
that's
the Domino,
him and
Creed,
Dwayne Allman.
fucking the Yardbirds. I mean, he was awesome in everything he's ever done.
Yes,
He
but he
played
is
with
at
Bob
heart a blues
Marley.
guy.
He played with Bob Marley.
That's true, because at heart he is a blues guy, and so that kind of gives him this fight. Now he plays a lot of good rock music. In fact, for the Beatles, he played probably one of the best guitar licks for them, "While My Guitar Gently Weeps." He did the guitar work for that because he was good friends with Harrison, and Harrison couldn't do the guitar work for that song that they wanted. So I get it. He's an amazing guitarist. Rush has a very, very good guitarist. Not as good as Eric Clapton, to be fair.
Limelight, the earth.
But
I mean, they're
they
just
have
so
a better drummer.
good.
They have Rush have a better
like
drummer.
really awesome. Like it's rock. Like when you think of a rock show, Rob, you think
Yes,
Rush.
it's Rush.
Oh, by the way, Teddy's third favorite band, Rush.
That does not surprise me. Again, Tesla was number 2. So
Rush. I mean, today's Tom Sawyer gets high on you. I mean, come on, man.
Daily. So the thing with Rush is that they are very progressive rock. They're very prog rock. They're very Canadian, which whatever. But
it's so good.
But it is pure rock in all forms. So it's really hard to be like,
if you were to tell an alien that came down from Earth what 80s rock music is.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Rush.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it would be Rush over any of these other bands from the 80s, in my opinion.
It'd be Rush and GNR.
It would be Rush and GNR. But again, if I had to pick one, I will listen to Rush. If you said you have to listen to 80s rock for 24 hours and you only get to
why I think of Rush? I think of Rush and I think of the Ultimate Warrior. You want to know why? Just bigger than life characters, with like crazy tassels like the Ultimate Warrior had. Like I don't know why.
Rush had none of they weren't a hair metal band. That's the thing.
They had the lights. If you ever seen they had like the lights going everywhere. Yeah. I don't know why it reminded me of like Ultimate Warrior as a rock star. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I mean, he is. I mean, and wrestling is definitely something that we'll get more into in probably a few weeks. But I always looked at the Ultimate Warrior as, again, like a hair metal guy, like a Guns N' Roses, and so I would say he's more in line with that. But you're not going to get a lot of argument from me. I don't know, man. I guess what really puts it over the top for me, for Rush, because we were going through this back and forth with a very, very difficult first thing. Now I don't, one of her favorite movies for Rush specifically. I can't think of it.
I know what he's thinking of. I Love You, Man. They dedicated a movie. They like literally the whole premise of their relationship was their love of Rush. Jason Segel and fucking Paul Rudd.
Yep.
They used to smacking the bass, man. Smacking the bass, man.
All right. So
who do we put through, Rob?
Well, again, I would put out to both of you, go and listen to the Rush albums. Very short. It's 8 songs. It's an album they released much later after they were kind of done. Oh, first of all, nailed it. Very good job. Second of all, go and listen to the album Feedback by Rush.
I've heard, yeah, come on.
And so I would be very surprised and very impressed if Anna Maria had heard of Feedback and listened to it. But Rush plays a bunch of old, like late 60s, early 70s rock songs, including ones that Eric Clapton did with the Yardbirds, Heart Full of Soul, stuff like that. And they go to town on it, and they just show off all their musicality, but in like very traditional rock songs instead of the prog rock that they felt like they had to make. They had to make a statement with their music. And so all of the stuff that they made was very highbrow, basically, for lack of a better word, just very high level shit. So, but when they're just when they're just playing Summertime Blues, I fucking love it, and they play it like a rock song. They don't play it like a blues song. So I think that alone gets them to close enough to the level of where Clapton is in terms of their musicality and everything else. And then they also have, the fact that they pushed everything, did a lot of progressive rock stuff.
Move Rush on.
This is more to like, convince like I don't know, Dylan. Why would you pick Rush over Eric Clapton?
I'll tell Dylan tomorrow.
He's gonna be so mad. Anyway, I think it makes sense because at heart, Clapton is a blues guitarist. That's why I think he can't win out against a pure rock
band. Rock stars
or best guitarist ever
or musician. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the next one hopefully will be easier. U2 versus Bob Seger.
Bob Seger. Move it on. Silver Bullet Band. Move it on.
Bob Seger is unbelievable.
We're not doing U2. U2 is the most overrated band of our generation. I don't get the big fucking glitz and glam about Bono. Like you can't even count right.
I mean, it definitely lost me with the later stuff, but and Bob Seger's just again, give him that old time rock and roll.
Rob, Bob Seger is what American rock and roll is about. He is from Detroit.
But at this point in time, after he missed the opportunity to be in like the real old time rock and roll, he kind of came into prominence.
Rob, what's one of Metallica's most famous songs?
Who?
What is Metallica? What is one of their most famous songs?
Enter Sandman.
Turn the Page. Who did it first?
Okay. All right. We'll get to Metallica. Don't worry about them.
Oh, we're moving Bob Seger right on, aren't we?
Oh yeah. No.
I thought me and you were gonna have to battle that out. Okay.
Well, I'm not. What do you think I am?
Boom. She hates you too.
Anyway. No, yeah. I mean, U2 is fine. U2 is not a bad band at all. I like The Edge. I don't hate Bono.
They're actually more Nickelback than Nickelback.
Yeah, but at least they stand for something. God knows what it is, but they definitely stand for something more than Nickelback does. Anyway, Bob Seger is definitely pure rock and roll, and I think is perfectly in the spirit of this bracket. So the next matchup, speaking of Bruce Springsteen versus Bad Company.
Bad Company, first band to sign to Led Zeppelin's album. I believe it was in 1972. Might have been 73. Give me Bad Company. I mean, come on. They wrote a song about themselves and called it Bad Company. The band Bad Company wrote a song about Bad Company and called it Bad Company. Who else would do that? Me.
Me.
Bad Company.
Yeah.
Little known fact, they're an English band.
I knew that. But I didn't realize they were a supergroup. They were termed a supergroup, so that's fun.
They are I love Bad Company. Come on, man.
I'm down with Bad Company. Springsteen is fine. I think the reason why you really don't like Springsteen is because and part of the reason why I don't like Springsteen is he's the pride and joy of Jersey, and you're just like, never mind.
I don't like as someone who's from New York area, I hate all of those guys. Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen. I like cool, dude. You're from Jersey, so is everybody else. Okay.
Well, like I said, I mean, I'm from Connecticut. That's why I'm like Jersey. Never mind. Not a fan.
Rob, have you looked at Bad Company's tops 7
songs? Again, they're a super group. They better have good songs.
I feel like making.
Yeah. Or Shooting Star.
Don't you know that you are
a
shooting star?
Stop it. They moved on already. And then we're going to have Bob Seger versus Bad Company, and then you're going to have an aneurysm. And it's going
we're not allowed to do that.
You're going to start mixing and matching songs by accident and stuff. Anyway, it was a very good.
The Five Finger cover.
Five Finger Death Punch does great covers. Some of their actual songs, they're fine.
Have you heard them cover the Bad Company? That was a good song.
Yeah, of course. I also heard them cover House of the Rising Sun, but
I haven't heard that.
Oh yeah, it's good. Or Blue on Black.
Talk about greatest rock song ever.
Yeah, But we're not here to talk about that. They are not on this list.
Neither is Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Well, yeah. All right, let's talk about the next matchup. The Doors versus Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I don't want to play anymore. The Red Hot Chili Peppers are the Doors.
I know. That's what I was thinking when I said it.
Like, they're never the greatest of their generation, but they might be the greatest of their generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so
okay. How you look at it.
So, God, I can't remember his first name, but the organ player for the Doors, Manzarek, I think is his last name. Great. I love it. I love everything about it. And then, like the beginning of the Alabama Whiskey song, you know, it's just all organ. Oh God, I fucking love it. But then you look at freaking Red Hot Chili Peppers and Flea going nuts on bass. Like these are the backup guys to the main dudes, and they're great. They're so good. And the bands themselves are.
And you can just hear the Doors playing through the Red Hot Chili Peppers, though. Like, you know that Kiedis was a fan.
Yes, he has to have been. He has to have been. So this is tough. I don't know. I feel like we have to go to. Well, okay. Somebody's got. You know.
If she can name me 3 Doors songs right now, I might agree with that. But she can't because she doesn't know how good they are.
So we're gonna give her. Let's see. We'll give her 20 seconds. No, we'll give her less. 10 seconds.
I'm trying to think. Like, I'm gonna go with Red Hot Chili Peppers though too.
Well, I mean, I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I like the fact that they definitely mix and match their genres as well. They kind of do whatever the fuck they want. They've got basically a funk bassist, so they go hard. I think that the Doors were excellent for their time, and even now they have a lot of good merit. But it all comes down to Morrison.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
So I have to. I'm thinking that has to be. She's talking about the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Probably. She doesn't know. Right.
So that's the thing. Is it all goes through Morrison? Do you think Morrison is better in and of himself than Kiedis really is, who we're matching him up against?
Yes.
Do you think that he by himself, his writing, all that stuff?
I think Morrison is better than Kiedis by a lot. I think Red Hot Chili Peppers are better than the Doors. If that makes sense.
I think part of it is longevity. I mean, Morrison went off the rails before he died, so they didn't have a lot of like great stuff even the year or so before he overdosed. He was already
crazy.
He was already pushing it. Yeah. So anyway, so I think we should pass along. I think we will pass along the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I want your lover madly. I want to love her while she's walking out the door.
How about People Are Strange? I got to see Evanescence
when they are strange. Really?
Evanescence came out there with a piano and she did that entire song live. Oh my god, so good! It was so good.
That's kind of ballsy.
Yeah, it was so good. I was very impressed, but it was even better. It's Morrison gets this kind of like Bob Dylan-esque mystique of like, well, he writes good songs, but they're better when they're covered by other people.
Yes, Along the Watchtower.
Yeah, and we'll get to Dylan, obviously, but still. In fact, we'll get to Bob Dylan right now. Bob Dylan versus Kiss.
Thoughts, comments, concerns?
Well, for anybody who follows us on Twitter, and you should, the Twitter handle is right there at the bottom. You would know our thoughts on Kiss, because anybody who decides not to show up tonight, which is apparently 9 billion people, are Kiss fans, which honestly sounds about right. Kiss is way too popular to be so popular for such a shitty band.
You want to know who absolutely loves Kiss? And if you actually listen to their early stuff, I can see where he's coming from.
That one freaking Sean William Scott's character from fucking Role Models. Yes, I have seen this argument.
No, it's actually Dylan, my stepdad, who is a big music guy. He said Kiss in like 72 to 74 was unbelievable.
Well, and that is very fair. A lot of bands, early 70s, this goes back to what my dad says. always is the best rock music was made in the late 60s, early 70s through like 1973, 4, 5 is where he kind of he cuts it off and he says everything past that point is fine at best.
Rob, if you actually listen to like Dr. Love, it's hard.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I get that.
Like their stuff, like it's actually kind of hard.
I understand that, and I'm not knocking that.
And if that was sung by like Sabbath, it'd be awesome. But it's a bunch of idiots in makeup.
But they're not beating Bob Dylan.
No, I know.
So I guess we give Kiss love. So Kiss isn't even one of the bands. If you were following along at home and tracking, Kiss isn't one of the bands that we shit on. So we're not even going to shit on Kiss and say, oh, they don't even deserve to be on this list. Everyone pretty much on this list so far has deserved to be on this list. There's no one that I think didn't deserve to be on the list. We'll get to them. And also, yes, I like her. Role models fucking win.
I heard. I think Anna Marie is a big LARPer. Big LARPer.
No,
I know she likes role play.
Thunderbolt. Anyway, okay. We're only halfway through, people, and we're in an hour in. So, Johnny, what do you want to do? Do you want to cut it for right now?
No,
or do you want to try and finish this up?
Let's finish the top, because otherwise we got to finish this.
The first we got to do the first round?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Rolling Stones versus Foreigner.
Let's move Rolling Stones on. Let's not go too deep into it. Foreigner.
Cold as Ice. Great song. Foreigner, not a bad band.
Cold as ice.
You are not going to beat the Rolling Stones.
Sacrifice our love.
Okay, this one sucks, and this is my own personal hell. Jethro Tull versus Blink-182.
This is when I saw this, I was like, Rob's gonna fucking have a win.
Okay,
for me, I love flutes, and I actually really enjoyed Jethro Tull because you brought me into them. I grew up on Blink-182. I broke 3 of their second albums and probably 6 of their third albums. So when they were CDs, so I'm going hands down Blink-182.
Oh God! And so here's I can't do that. I have to go with Jethro Tull, and I got to go down swinging on this one. And here's why. Okay, Johnny. They attempted to do a tour with Lil Wayne. They failed to do the tour with Lil Wayne. Couldn't even get halfway through the tour.
How did Blink-182?
Huh?
Blink-182 did.
Yeah, of course. Jethro Tull wasn't around when Lil Wayne.
I thought you were saying Jethro Tull tried to tour.
No. I was trying to say it as a negative.
And if that was recently, I would have been like, okay, Jethro Tull gets my vote if they're trying to go on tour.
No, okay, no. I mean, Jethro Tull won Best Metal Album over the Black Album for Metallica.
That's not a good. That's a bad thing.
Well, I'm not saying they should have won, but they had a metal album. They had a fucking metal album with a flute. So, But
you know what? Blink-182 also grew up with the Warped Tour, and the Warped Tour brought everybody together.
I know. They didn't even make it halfway through the fucking tour with Lil Wayne. He quit because it was a terrible idea, and they shouldn't have done it. And everybody knows it. But
yeah, Rob, just think of all the good times you had Blink-182. All the small things.
Fucking Tom's voice. Listen.
Come on, and they can get serious. An Adam song was a really big cultural hit when we were kids. It taught us about suicide. I mean, Rob, that's what you grew up with, man. You have play to your millennial side here. I know you're fighting for pops. And Jethro Tull.
It's not even that. Jethro Tull is just a better band. Like they're better at music all around. And most people don't know that our age.
But for me, Blink. All right, you gotta call someone. Call someone.
I'm gonna call someone.
You call your fucking father.
I'm not gonna call my father.
Oh, that's a good point.
That was Blink, right? Or no?
That would have been fucking. Rob, that would have been the greatest concert of our lives.
Yeah, well, I've seen both of them in concert, so yeah, that would have been a great concert. And I know, I get it. Who am I supposed to fucking call? I'm not going to call Adam. Blink's one of his favorite bands of all time.
Call Casanueva.
No, I don't even know if he listens to music. God. And I hope he watches this fucking episode and he hears that. Seriously though, he does. I never can tell what the fuck he actually knows. I'll call Adam mostly because then you could say hi to Adam. But I know what the answer is going to be. But I'm still going down swinging, and I'm sorry that we're an hour in. But I'm not backing down. We'll get to Tom Petty later.
That was good, Rob.
All day. Come on, Adam.
This is terrible radio, Rob.
You're terrible radio. Also, you already did this. Just because Teddy picked up immediately.
Hey, you reached Adam?
Son of a bitch. All right. I will go with Anna Marie on this one and let her be the veto vote because I already know that my best friend would already vote for Blink-182. So we're just going to give her the credit on this.
Is that what you picked?
Yeah.
Boom. Rob, I love Jethro Tull. They're a great band, man, but I grew up on Blink.
Yeah, I know. So
and
did
Blink
I.
was one of those that I threw in.
Well, actually, I listened to Jethro Tull before I ever listened to Blink-182, but that's a whole different story. That's on my dad. Anyway, let's talk about two other bands that, again, I'm not going to fight as hard about, but it's the same conversation. We have Yes, as in, what's his name? Yes.
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. I was going to say Brian Daniel. I don't. Okay. Anyway,
His real name is Brian Danielson.
There you go. Versus the Foo Fighters, who apparently welcome back.
Welcome back, Foo Fighters.
They're back in it, and they're playing where tonight?
They're playing at the Garden.
Of course they are, and probably selling it out. And Dave Grohl is an amazing person. Well, amazing musician for sure. So
to be honest with you, Rob, there is one Yes song that I really know and love.
Roundabout.
No,
you love the Lonely Hearts.
Owner of a Lonely Heart.
You should listen to Roundabout. You would enjoy Roundabout.
I'm sure, but for me, as a millennial,
it's gotta be Foo Fighters.
Give me Foo Fighters, baby.
I know. I get that. I understand. Like I said, this is not hard for me.
Years ago, it was Foo Fighters. This is my best concert I think I've ever been to.
Yeah. And I'm sorry I missed that concert. Like, I agree with that because the Foo Fighters have proven that over time they are only getting basically better at what they do at their craft.
They're like a nice red wine, bud.
They are aging well. Blink-182 has not aged well, which is why I was like, I got to go back to Jethro Tull because Jethro Tull clearly has aged well.
Blink-182 aged like a nice Bud Light.
That you took out of the fridge when Tom left, and then you put it back in, and then you took it out again, and then you opened it, and then you put it back in to like rescue it somehow, and then you fucking put Lil Wayne in it. Anyway. All right.
Foo Fighters.
And so Anna Marie also knows this. So stick around, Anna Marie, because we have got wrestling
too. She's pretty cool, bud.
That's what I'm saying. We've got wrestling. That'll wrestling.
She looks like Nikki. She kind of looks like Nikki Bella.
Oh, but not her twin, just Nikki.
No, if it was her twin, I would have a ring on it already. Sorry, love you.
All right. So there you go. Anyway, the next one, Foo Fighters will be going up against the winner of the Grateful Dead and Guns N' Roses.
We have to give them their due. Apparently, I've never listened to the Dead at all. Apparently, they're good. I mean, they have a fucking Ben and Jerry's ice cream named after their lead singer. But I mean, it's GNR, man. Like, let's not get this too complicated.
I mean, fair enough. Grateful Dead is the first real jam band, right? Now, you had to be high out of your goddamn mind to listen to them, but fine, no big deal. Grateful Dead are great, but GNR is actually the cream of the crop.
They have like something, like they have something when they do their tours. It's called something different. What's the name of that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know offhand, but if we were an hour in, I'd think about it.
They're like weird. The Deadheads are weird people.
Of course they are. Anyway. So it's more like that's not our vibe. That's not our scene. So we can't really get behind. I think if either one of us were Deadheads, this would be a wildly different conversation. But we are not. And honestly, Deadheads, again, are more of a boomer thing. There really aren't hardcore Deadheads who are millennials. So anyway, I feel like Anna Marie's got a whole story, and we're gonna back away from that because we're already super behind schedule. But well, you can just read that, and I think this was about the Foo Fighters concert. Anyway, the next matchup, Metallica versus Rod Stewart.
Move Metallica on. Let's not talk about it. Let's not waste a lot of time.
Okay. That sounds good. Rod Stewart's fine. I always get him confused with Barry Manilow because I feel like they look very similar.
All right.
He has some good songs, or rather the Faces were his backup band. They were really good. Anyway, now the one that's going to break the internet, Jimi Hendrix versus Stevie Ray Vaughan. What the fuck? How did this happen, Johnny?
Can we just move on?
How did this happen, Johnny?
Both part of the 27 Club.
One emulated the other.
Both the greatest guitar players of their generation.
Pretty much, yes.
Both brought rock and roll music to a different level at their stages in life.
Yeah.
Both were changing the music scene at their stages in life.
Yes, they were.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
So I guess what I would say is, does the originator get more credit? Because Stevie Ray Vaughan emulated, I mean, he did a lot of covers of Jimmy because he obviously, as you were saying before, you know, as Anthony Kiedis definitely was a big fan of Jim Morrison and got a lot of that same vibe and basically was the same band 2 decades later. Stevie Ray Vaughan literally attempted to do the same thing in Texas 2 decades later after, you know, Jimmy passed away. So in that case, we gave it to the Peppers, who are a newer version, kind of 2.0. Can we give it to, is Stevie Ray Vaughan Jimi Hendrix 2.0? And if he is not, then do we have to kind of give it to the original?
I think we should break it down by songs, Rob. Who had the better songs?
Hendrix. If we're going off of just album by album, Voodoo Child, Slight Return wins.
We're going to move on Jimi Hendrix.
There's just a lot of great songs by Stevie Ray Vaughan too, and rest in peace to both of them.
Yeah.
But dear Lord, Voodoo Child, Slight Return gets me the fuck up every single time.
Nothing like from Texas. I mean, just move Jimi Hendrix on before I get into it.
Okay. Much love, SRV. All right, here we go. AC/DC versus Genesis. Genesis is garbage. They should not be on this list. There's plenty of other better rock bands than them. Oh, you're muted. You're still muted. How did you mute yourself? All right, fine. He was so upset about Genesis even being on this list that he left. I'm sure he'll tell me differently when he gets back. But we'll take this time while he's coming back to, once again, tell everyone to check us out, like, subscribe the YouTube channel so you can follow us, and also like us on Twitter. And don't worry, we'll follow you back. There he is.
Sorry, I hit the button. My bad.
No worries. I did a little commercial break. And to finish off this third quadrant, we have Pink Floyd versus Linkin Park.
Of course we do. Why wouldn't we?
Yep.
I don't want to play anymore.
Johnny. Well, both of them, again, very similar qualities, right? Just 2 decades.
But if I'm going to be completely honest and not be like, I do love Pink Floyd. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you actually take Dark Side and pair it to Wizard of Oz, it actually does pair up. 100%. That is true. That is a true story. But I'm a millennial, and if I'm listening to my music, I probably played Hybrid Theory so much that my mom's great aunt knows it through like DNA in the grave. Like, I mean, really.
Meteora makes my day every time I listen to it.
Because Hybrid Theory was their first.
Yep. Hybrid Theory is great. Hybrid Theory is great, but
I just killed
Meteora rocks my world every time.
I think I just I honestly don't know how many times I played that CD, and that was probably the first CD that I never ever skipped a song ever.
Well, and that's a huge nostalgia factor, right?
And then you go and you play Meteor, and it's the same thing.
Again, Meteor gets it for me every time.
Then they did a whole album with the biggest rap star of our generation, and made it like the best album of our generation. Like what, you know what I mean? Like,
so
they did what Run DMC and Guns N' Roses tried to do, but they just did it like way better.
I get that. I get that. It's Pink Floyd. Like, is there not
Linkin Park?
I know. It's just, God, like.
We're not saying Pink Floyd isn't a tremendous band.
Okay. I'm going to call him again. In the interim, I know what he's going to say because Linkin Park is actually his favorite band of all time. But I think he explains it much better how Linkin Park should move on past Pink Floyd. If he'll pick up the fucking phone. Because otherwise, like Pink Floyd, like all of the shit that we're talking about shaping, I mean, the laser shows, all that stuff, that was what Pink Floyd was for people in the 70s.
Hey, you've reached that?
God damn it. So,
they're very different styles of music, but they're very much the same band.
They push boundaries. They tried to take, I mean, even the sound effects, right? All that shit with, well, of course, they have DJ Han and Linkin Park, but Pink Floyd was doing all of the similar like idea of stuff without the technology behind it when they were doing their thing.
I so get it.
But we're a millennial podcast, and we're going to pick the millennial band.
But Rob, you know I love Pink Floyd. Like I have the Wall album. Looking at it right now, I'm looking at the Dark Side of the Moon album right now on vinyl.
Yep,
I love him. Also have the Hybrid Theory on vinyl and Meteor on vinyl.
Yep.
I listened to Pink Floyd first, I guess, but I didn't really get to appreciate it because there wasn't the laser light shows, and like if I grew up then it'd be different.
Right.
But like I went to Linkin Park concerts. We went together.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well, we're showing our bias. It happens. So we are going to pass on. Sorry, folks. We're going to pass on Linkin Park past Pink Floyd.
No reason to be sorry here. I don't think that's that big of a reach.
It isn't for two millennials doing this bracket, no. But if we're two boomers saying Linkin Park moves on past Pink Floyd, then I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? What did I just watch? So, but that's just me. Anyway, it looks like we have two viewers. Feel free to comment or in the chat, actually. And that way, if we're way off base, you can tell us. We won't change our mind most likely at this point because we're already an hour and 18 minutes into this nonsense. But we appreciate your opinion anyway. For the last bracket, Johnny, we have Led Zeppelin versus Soundgarden.
Led Zeppelin
versus Soundgarden.
Soundgarden's fantastic. I love Soundgarden.
I know.
Fun, fantastic song. They're not Led Zeppelin.
They got paired with the literal juggernaut.
That's what happens when you go against the fucking champ.
How about this one? Creedence Clearwater Revival versus Tom Petty.
I know who you're going to fight for here, and I'm going to fight you right back because you know how much I love my Muddy Water Blues rock and roll.
Yep.
Give me Creedence all day.
Oh, it's Tom Petty.
It's not Tom Petty.
It's fucking Tom Petty, though.
No, it's not.
All right. Okay, so here's what I will give you. Tom Petty spanned multiple decades, did a whole ton of music, has some great songs. Up and down, left and right, flat out. Actually hired Dave Grohl after Nirvana, disbanded and wanted him to be his drummer. And Grohl turned him down to start the Foo Fighters, which was the biggest, toughest decision he ever had to do in his entire life because it's fucking Tom Petty. But Creedence Clearwater Revival in like 2 years, 1970 through 1972, released.
It was like late 69 to like 73-ish. Yeah.
It was like 3 years ish, like maybe 4, probably less than that. They released so much music and it was all amazing. They went hard. They did basically what the Beatles did, but compressed it even further. That to me is almost more impressive in and of itself. And then the music itself is just hard to compare.
But it wasn't even like bad, shitty. It was like
they just crushed it.
You look at their discography.
Yeah, they just crushed it, and then they got into like.
It was one of my favorite songs, and that's like their 12th best song.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, 68 through really 1970, 72 is when the last one came out, I think. But they only recorded for like 3 years. Just real unbelievable stuff. So, in and of itself, I think that they go toe to toe with anybody, even Tom Petty. So we're going to go with CCR in this particular case because you finally picked the older band, the older artist, and I had to fight you for it. Because why the fuck not?
I mean, Rob, it's CCR, man.
That's fair. All right, how about this one, Johnny? Queen versus Maroon 5. Don't do this to me. It's Queen. It's Queen. It's great because they're both fairly poppy.
Some would say Maroon 5 may be as close as you can get to a Queen style band with like the lead singer, like not performance wise, but like his range.
Yep.
I would say
it's a great. I
mean, we're gonna move on Queen here, obviously, but you can tell that. I mean, Adam listened to Queen every day of his life.
Of course he did,
and he wanted to be Freddie Mercury.
And I mean, at one point he had the opportunity to do so, but then now they basically they're a pop band. When I look up Maroon 5, because I was checking their discography, and I know Songs About Jane. I was wondering if they had an album before that. They did not. That was their first album, a great, phenomenal rock album.
So they were more rock. Queen was poppy too.
Queen was poppy as well. But when you look up Queen and you look up Maroon 5 is literally an American pop band.
Yeah.
Queen is fucking Queen.
But I mean, I just saw it. I mean, we're gonna move on Queen, obviously. But like, have you ever heard Adam sing? I think I've told you this before, but have you ever heard him sing "Purple Rain"?
Well, that's a Prince song, but yes,
I know it is. But he's
got that. I know he's got it all. That's the thing is he's chosen violence. He's chosen pop, which is a violent thing to do on this album.
He beat Prince at Prince.
I mean,
there's probably only one other person that could do that, and that's probably Freddie Mercury. Could be
probably
Prince.
Probably. Now, I will say that Prince was also playing guitar while doing the song, so I don't think that he could do that. Very different discussion. But yes, vocally, absolutely 100%. And
I would say as a millennial podcast, the closest thing we would ever get to a Queen would be Maroon 5. And obviously, we're not going to move on. We'll move Queen on. Queen's a fucking juggernaut too. But
yes, but I agree with you 100%.
Maroon 5 a little bit of they're not. I know they're a pop band. I get it, but they're very talented too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just at this point, they've abandoned all semblance of pretending to be a rock band, and that's fine. You're allowed to do that. That's totally reasonable. But you cannot beat Queen by doing that.
You're very true.
All right, the next matchup: Allman Brothers versus Def Leppard.
You know where I'm going to go,
and I agree with it 100%. Allman Brothers. Again, if one of the guys in your band goes on to create Derek and the Dominoes with Eric Clapton because you're as good a guitarist as he is, you win. You win the matchup with an 80s hair metal band.
A good 80s. Top 5 80s.
A quality.
Probably top 3 80s hair metal band. Let's give them a little bit of credit.
A quality hair metal band, to be sure. But come on, man. You're not beating Dwayne. You're not beating Eda Peach.
You're not beating Dickie Betts.
Nope. So anyway, they're moving on. We're going to have a whole lot of fun with Allman Brothers versus Queen. I can already tell. The next matchup, we finally get a little fun. Ramones versus the Kinks.
I saw this matchup and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
It's not because it's not rock. It's not like rock.
This is not a purist argument. This is the Kinks being, the Kinks, and the Ramones being punk. The real infusion of punk that we really enjoy what they brought to the table with their offspring, again, Father's Day, the punk offspring that, made it into this bracket, moved on. Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, the Who were the godfathers, but the Ramones were one of the dads.
Rob, this is like more right up your alley, so I'm gonna let you lead on this one.
Okay, I will say that the Kinks are a very underrated but also popular band. Like when you say the Kinks, people go, "Oh yeah, I love that band," but like nobody ever thinks of them
or can name their songs unless they hear them.
Unless they hear them and they go, "Wait, who is this?"
This is the Kinks.
Exactly. But the Ramones they're phenomenal. And not really because of their music, kind of because of their music, but mostly because of just the punk culture that they brought. And obviously they're not the only ones. We don't have
and Vinny Chase was supposed to play Johnny Ramone in Entourage. It's gotta be the Ramones. The Ramones.
It's gotta be the Ramones. It has to be the Ramones. So, which makes it even more fun for the next matchup because they're going to play the winner of Frank Zappa versus Alice Cooper.
Take it away, Rob. This is you.
So, yes. So Alice Cooper is a great.
It's weird how these last two matchups have been just
pure me.
Dead red, Rob.
Yep. And so Alice Cooper is a great rocker. He is. He's got some very, especially early Alice Cooper has some great rock songs. Just like
very Sabbath-esque.
Well, and so he doesn't even go real hard. He does like what Kiss did in terms of like
I would say Sabbath-esque with the dramatics, but he did the dramatics better than and the makeup better than Kiss. I'd say he's in between Sabbath and Kiss as
yeah.
You know what I mean? That gothic. I don't know if it's really gothic, but
he played the part very well. Alice Cooper, I think he still has it's a radio show, but I think it's on Sirius. I know I was listening to it when I was like out west at one point. Amazing because he knows his rock like so well. He knows his music really, really well, and he's a great person to just have running a show about rock stuff that goes into deep cuts.
Like he's a great ambassador of rock.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that's how he would be, but he's a great dude. But I think even he would acknowledge the massive amount of musicality that Frank Zappa brought to rock music, and also not rock music. He kind of did rock music because he enjoyed it, but then he did all these like orchestral things. Like he's like a modern day classical composer. So yeah, I say classical, but like literal composer, not making it for a movie or anything like that. Just making music on a epic scale. And I think Alice would agree that, Frank Zappa was
Although, at the end of every June, when we were in school, Rob, what song would we blast?
I get that, but that's the thing. That kind of humor.
No, yeah.
So Frank Zappa wrote a bunch of different things. He had no real political affiliation, but he wrote shit like "Don't Eat the Yellow Snow." Like shit that was just stupid because he didn't really like singing to his music. He just wanted to have something that people were like, "Oh, I'll buy that. That's fine." And it made him enough money so people could like sing along to stuff and tour. So he could play all the shit he wanted to play, which was all like very intense. Like I said, just orchestral setups. You may recognize the name Steve Vai. Steve Vai is an amazing guitarist from our day and time. He only became who he was because he went and tried out, and basically Zappa took him. And one of the things that Zappa asked him during his stuff was, okay, and Zappa was a self-taught guitarist, and he played like a riff and was just like, here, can you play that? This is the fucking show up, and this is the most intense audition that Steve Vai has ever been to in his entire life, and had up to this day still the hardest audition he's ever gotten. So Zappa plays a riff. Can you play that? And he goes, yeah, sure. Plays it back to him. He goes, okay, cool. Now play it like Mozart wrote it. And he's like, what? And he's like, just make it a little more classical, whatever, but see if you can adjust on the fly to that stuff. And he's like, okay, I guess I could do something like that. Does the thing. And he said, great, now play it like the fucking, Turtles wanted to play this song or whatever, whatever, just like all different. And so,
yeah.
And so he was like, okay, sure, why not? And he's like, all right, you'll do. Like, come on. But the reason why he did all that is because he would write shit that was that spanning, and then he demanded, and I mean demanded, that his people that he hired that were like the primo musicians that he could find, they replicated it the same. When they played it on the album, they went on the road and they played it identical. There was no jamming out. There was only, you get to the solo and then you do your solo however you want to do your solo, but everything else is to a T. And if you can't keep up with that shit, he cuts you and he gets you.
But he's very OCD.
But because he was the maestro, like I said, the just the main man. So it says a lot when your son, who he named Dweezil, because again, Frank didn't give a shit. His son's name is Dweezil. And Dweezil's first guitar, because his dad was self-taught and he wanted Dweezil to have an actual, music education on how to play guitar if he wanted to play guitar. Dweezil's first guitar teacher was Eddie Van Halen. This is the same man who Jimi Hendrix gave the guitar that he lit on fire at the fucking Monterey Pop Festival. He gave it to Frank Zappa. It was literally in his base, is like fucking like under the, under the closet, whatever, under the stairs closet for 30 years. And Dweezil found it and his dad was like, oh yeah, no, here, do you want it? I don't know. It was just in the closet. Like, this is the level of insanity that Zappa had in the music community because of how insanely musical he was. And that is so hard to convey to people who listen to music but don't like listen. It's never was on the radio. He literally released one album called Overnight Sensation. It was his one attempt at pop music, and it wasn't even pop. It was just enough that they would play it on the radio, kind of enough that he could get enough shit to pay for all the stuff he wanted to do, because he just took all the money and put it right back into making more music. He has an insane amount of, let's see, I wanted to get an actual list of the albums that Zappa has put out. It says that he has 113 studio albums. 113 full studio albums. That is absurd. So, during his lifetime, he released 62, and he had another 41 in the vault ready to go, but they weren't ready, right? They weren't good enough for them to release. Guy was unbelievable. And there is no way, that I can allow Frank Zappa to not get through at least the first round on this Father's Day, because my dad's number one favorite band of all time is Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. So
there you go, Rob. There was Rob soliloquy about Frank Zappa. We let him have it, people.
Thank you. I couldn't find my Zappa shirt. I actually have one, but I couldn't. I was trying to find it before today. I didn't even know if Zappa was on the list, so a good look. And a shout out to rockbandhistory.com for putting him in the top 100, as well he should be. Okay, we've got two more. These are easy, Johnny. Super easy. You ready? Nirvana versus the Police.
I don't care. This is easy for the wrong who cares?
Exactly. I have no dog in the fight.
Alice in Chains. Moving on.
Maybe Anna Marie has one, because her comments have been coming in really late. Like, she just posted Queen, and I swear to God that was 20 minutes ago. So,
well, women are always late, Rob. I guess we have to move on. Nirvana.
I guess. Well, and so they're going to play the winner of Elton John and Deep Purple.
All right, Rob. Same argument with Billy Joel. Is Elton John is he a rock guy?
I don't think so. I think at one point he was more rock. Like, he played more rock songs with the piano than Billy Joel did. But Elton very quickly got away from all that shit and went and did his own thing. So I would not consider Elton John super strong rock guy. And Deep Purple is low-key an amazing rock band. Like, take away Smoke on the Water, which, by the way, is about a fire that broke out while they were playing. They went to go see Zappa and the Mothers play. It's in the fucking lyrics to Smoke on the Water. And the place burned down to the ground. So, literally, Zappa and the Mothers is the lyrics that they said. They went to go see Zappa because, of course, they did.
Hush.
Yeah, Hush. Space Truckin'. Awesome song.
Do we really take and not put Elton John through?
I don't know, man. I think Deep Purple is way more on it than Elton John. But let's see. Let me look up Sir Elton.
I mean, Elton John is
He's genres: rock, pop rock, glam rock, soft rock.
That's all rock, Rob.
Yeah, but then he also wrote the shit for like The Lion King, which is unbelievably good, but not rock.
So his best songs, according to this, Tiny Dancer, not a rock song.
Right.
Don't Go Breaking My Heart, kind of a rock song.
Candle in the Wind, not a rock
Benny and
song.
the Jets, very much a rock song.
Crocodile Rock, definitely a rock song.
Rocket Man, yeah, it's a glam rock song.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Not a rock song.
No.
No, but see, here's the thing.
Don't let the sun go down on
So,
me.
I will put to you probably my favorite song by Elton John anyway, is Your Song. But it was Top of the Pops 1971.
See, my favorite Elton John song is definitely a rock song. Saturday night's all right.
Oh, wow.
Saturday night's
That's your favorite song, man.
Saturday night's all right, all right, all right. Dude, that's a banging rock song, dude.
It's a bang rock. But see, like his best stuff is not rock songs, in my opinion. Now, you really like that song, so fair.
No, that's my favorite, but I get what you're saying. Like his best stuff that people recognize
is this pop stuff, because he's a great writer.
My most famous song is probably Rocket Man, right? Or Tiny Dancer?
Yeah, probably. Or again, anything from, honestly, kids these days would have heard The Lion King before anything else.
Yeah.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Great song. Amazing song.
That was written for Princess Diana.
Well, that was Candle in the Wind.
Oh, that's what you said. I'm sorry.
Candle in the Wind, yeah. But The Lion King, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Oh, okay. I thought you said
the other one. The other one that everybody's heard. It's a pop. He's a pop guy. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, I don't feel like this is the bracket for him. Now, again, his early stuff really did push rock forward. It was good. It was part of the glam rock stuff. But, it was kind of the same argument as Bowie, right?
I'm gonna put Deep Purple through, Rob, as long as you don't think we're gonna get crushed.
Oh, we're gonna get crushed anyway. Man, if people listen this far, they deserve to crush us. So, all right. That means that Deep Purple is going to be playing the winner of Nirvana versus the Police. And you want Nirvana, I'm assuming.
I guess. I don't care. I'm not a fan of either of them.
Well, there you go. So I think Nirvana is probably more appropriate. Again, 90s, we're a millennial podcast.
I was scared,
well, so that's the other thing, is that opening to that song is hype. That is the 90s song, right?
Yeah.
When we do the 90s Power Hour, which we need to do very, very soon again, and anybody wants to join us for that, we will live stream the shit out of that. That would be awesome.
Maybe we do it for the first college football weekend. We'll be together.
Yeah.
Maybe we wherever we go, we stream us doing a Power Hour.
I think that's a great call, but we would always listen to the 90s Power Hour because it's the best one. But the first song on the Power Hour anywhere in a pick a 90s playlist is the opening. Again, it's just the first 60 seconds of, or 30 seconds. I forget how. No, it's 60 seconds. So 60 seconds of Smells Like Teen Spirit. So it is fairly iconic. But that's all you have to listen to of that entire song.
Yeah, otherwise we talk about mosquitoes and libidos.
Yep, and stuff like that. And mulattoes, I think.
Mulatto.
And albino.
Mosquito. My libido. Yeah.
Yeah.
That song is about literally nothing.
which is kind of what grunge is about, I guess. I don't know.
Alice in
Anyway.
Chains a little better. Just saying.
Yeah, Soundgarden probably better. All right, folks, if you've stuck with us this far, and I think we've only got Anna Marie left, we greatly appreciate you. You guys are awesome, and we are definitely going to take less time next week because we'll have less teams to go through, less bands to go through. But we will be here Sunday evening as
How
the
do matchups look, Rob? Anything intriguing?
So many, all of them. I'm not even going to get into it because we're an hour and 40 minutes in, and quite honestly, these are going to give me enough anxiety for the coming week anyway. So I don't need to get into it further. But things to look out for: we push through Linkin Park over Pink Floyd, which I think is a bigger offense, and Deep Purple over Elton John. But otherwise, our 1 seeds and our 2 seeds made it through pretty well. And there are a few just awesome bands in there. If you have any particular ones that you think should get the most love, please let us know. And Johnny's already out. He didn't give a fuck. But please let us know. Follow us on Twitter right there. You've got my handle on the side there, I guess on that side right there. And then the one at the bottom. Please feel free to follow us. You can check out our other bracket. There we go.
Yeah, that's what happens. We have technical difficulties at all times, so we got through the whole podcast without it today. So it's not a big deal.
Mostly.
But like Rob was saying, like and subscribe, comment on your stuff.
Check out our other brackets. We've now got 2. Yep, we've got 2 brackets up there now. We've got cartoons and we've got video games because we are millennial AF. And we'll see you all next week. And Johnny, what do we always tell people to do?
Rob, we always keep it.
Keep fighting. Boom.
Boom.